Okay. So the challenge is, the challenge is create a hyper-realistic iris right here. Ironically enough, my name is Rachel too, but I am not the Rachel that typically does the tutorials. On that note, I also did not watch the tutorial. Now, mind you, I'm trying to do this and hold my phone steady so you can see. I started with this light lavender color, colored in all of the shapes. I'm ignoring the backdrop here. Colored the entire eye because my husband requested that I do a lavender eye with this. Then I went around the edge here, first with the darkest purple I had, then with the pink very lightly. Opacity for the dark purple I had set at 100%, and the width I had maybe between a 0 and a 1%. Keeping in the lines at that point in time was irrelevant because I planned on blocking this out so that it would go back to white and focus on the eyeball. Then the next thing I did after I did the edges and the full eye color using the lavender, this, and this, is I colored in the pupil using straight black, okay? And that's found in your basic palette. Anybody has access to these. I doubt very seriously they unlocked all of the different colored palettes for everybody. Now these are all the colors I've used so far for this, okay? I started out with a basic green on, I actually used a splatter tool. I didn't understand why they unlocked it, and then I did. Set to a width of approximately 0 to 5%, not very high, and a very low opacity, maybe 15 to 20%. Hold on. And I just went around the edge of the iris and kind of just stroked outwards. I think of the eye kind of like a sunshine. And you're getting rays coming out of color instead of rays of light. Different colors. I chose colors that would both accent the purple, such as pinks, and greens, which you can't really see the greens at this point, as well as opposites of the purple. Like on the color wheel, yellow is opposite purple on the color wheel. So what's going to cause is some color poppage to go on. As you see, I added some more of the hot pink in 2 different tones here, 3 actually, and just kind of fleshed that out. Put it on the splatter tool again and splattered in some white coming out, and then took the black, did a little extra outlining on the edge of the eye, and some lines coming out of the iris here, or I'm sorry, the pupil here. I've got a migraine, so if I say things backwards, I apologize. And just, I worked around, tried to get a natural feel of it, knowing how eyes look. Obviously, if you've known my gallery and you know my work, you know that I have done a great deal of eye work for these challenges and just in general. The human eye fascinates me on many different levels, including that I typically don't make eye contact with people because I feel it's a personal invasion. It's like the eye is the window to the soul. And so it's very rarely, unless I trust you, I actually make eye contact with you. So I finished this, and if you click the checkmark button, you see that Color Therapy has it automatically set to no lines, and that's your only option. Thank you, Color Therapy, for that one, because too many people. So now you can see how my iris looks without all of the lines that are already in the picture. I call that pretty good. Now, I forgot to tell you that I did block out some reflective light here and here where it was already in the picture, then an accent beam here where it's catching the light, and a strip here, and just a few dots in the pupil, as well as one tiny little dot above the pupil. The next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go under Skin Shades, and I'm just going to start shading it in. Now, my last eye I did some makeup work on. I'm not doing that with this one. Again, I've got it set on airbrush. I'm going to turn the opacity up, maybe to 70. I'm going to turn the airbrush size down to like a 5. And the first thing I'm going to focus on is this crease right here. I'm not worried about the lashes right now Because if I worry about the lashes right now, I'm going to screw up my shading. I'm just going to take this line that they've already put in here for me, and I'm just going to gently do that. Gently just stroke up like that. Just follow the line, you know, the best you can. Wouldn't it be neat if I had like 3 hands? Then I could really like hold this down, right? I could flesh this out later, but basically, like, they've got 2 accent lines here. So I'm just going to go with it and sort of define those lines with the darker brown and the skin shades. Oops. We can get rid of that. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. And come down a little bit here. And then what I want to do next is go to the opacity, turn it down to a lower setting. Like, let's go 20, 21, doesn't matter. Turn the airbrush size up a little bit, that down. Let's switch the color. I don't want that dark brown there. What I want to do is start giving the facial features a little bit more natural balance of tone. Because none of us are completely white, black, or in general. I am just going to airbrush around the edges to start with. Just, you know, none of our skin tone is even. I mean, we get blotchy, especially if you're me. I turn 50 shades of red, not gray. Here I should have probably gone in with that darker color. I'll keep the opacity down. I'm just going to turn the airbrush. I'm actually going to turn the opacity up to about 50. I can never get the opacity right without getting frustrated. And I'm just going to kind of gently put that in here and go under the eye. What I'm also going to do is go under the eye with a bit of a black, give it some black eyeliner here. Oops, we went into the white. Do you see that? That was a mistake, and that's going to erase everything I just did, I'll bet. I'm usually very careful to work the shade. I know everybody always like, how do you do that? So here you go. This is how I do that. This is going to be black anyways. You're like, why are you wasting your time? Because I like my shading to be done proper. I do the shading first before I do makeup or anything like that if I'm going to do it. Now, I'm going to give her some red. I picked this color. It's on the top row. Turn my opacity down again to maybe a 10. I like to turn my airbrush size up because all I'm basically doing is giving her some, like, you know, natural blotchiness going on here. Go here, here. This is going to get shaded in a little darker than that. But, you know, your skin tone, especially around your eyes, is just, it depends on your mood. You're going to have some whiteness going under the eye, over the eye, and patches, just like you would if you were doing a full face, which for these challenges, I don't want to add a full face. I feel it takes away from the general work of the thing. And I'm just going to go in to this section and just give it a little bit of tone here in between the darker shades. I've kept the opacity the way it was when I did the whole skin. So you're looking at 1067. Just like with cooking, I don't use exact measurements, so don't, you know, this is just your basic, like, okay, cool, that's how you did that. And I want to accent this. I may change my mind, but, you know, I don't add makeup to mine generally because I don't wear makeup. And I don't wear makeup because even though I feel it improves my appearance, it also irritates my eyes to the point that I end up removing it by the end of the night. And 3, I don't go anywhere. I try to avoid the public, don't we all? Half of us on color therapy are like, we don't do crowds because people are freaking weird. Are we right, ladies? Yes, we're right, ladies. Not disparaging most of the people. Oh, that opacity is way too high for that. Let's turn that down to like a 5 or 10. I've got Christmas music going in the background. I'm trying to put myself in the Christmas spirit. This challenge certainly is helping get my mind off my slight depression going on here. Migraine didn't help. My Christmas light situation didn't help. I got really upset over it. It means a lot to me to have my Christmas lights out. And my husband tried a solution. It didn't work. He got back to return the lights. And they were fixing to pull all the lights off the shelf that he just bought. That's a side note. I apologize. If you know me well enough, you know I constantly apologize for pretty much anything under the sun, even if it's not my fault. It's a force of habit. I'm working on it. Okay. Let me see what this looks like. Fairly natural. I think she needs more definition here. Yeah, it's missing eyelashes. We'll work on that. But let's also get a little more definition here. I used a lighter color of gray. Put my brush size down. Gray, skin tone. Lighter color of skin tone, just to kind of flesh this out a little bit. You're not going to be able to see much of it. Hey, does anybody know if like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer has come on yet? I think it has. I don't care about the social aspects of how offensive it may or may not be given the times, because you know what? If a mouse farts right now, I think people might be offended. No offense intended to anybody else. I'm not exactly PC correct on anything. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. Toys in every store. I mean, it doesn't matter what your skin tone is. We've all got different skin tones. That's too dark. How much lower? Put the opacity down to 5. Airbrush size makes all the difference in the world because it causes the color to spread out more evenly. And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again. You know, honestly, I say that now. School's not even out for Christmas break yet, and they've added days because of the hurricane, and I don't know if we're still expecting snow or not. But as you can see, I'm slowly fleshing out her face. There's not much face to her. I mean, it could be a guy. I mean, I suppose it could be a guy. We don't have to give it the gender identity of a woman, but I choose to. Because the brown eye I did earlier, my eye doesn't actually have flecks of green in it. It's actually extremely dark brown. I'm going to take a stab at that and say that probably comes from my German heritage. Maybe there is some Spanish heritage that I was able to find in my family line. That's a different subject for a different day. This is a tutorial on how I work my magic, if you will. I don't see it much as magic, honestly. I don't understand. I told one Ronnie on Facebook that she shouldn't sell her shelf short, and what am I sitting here doing? Yeah, I know. I do it often. So what I'm doing, okay, what I've done is I've selected black. I turn my opacity up to 82. This is down to 1%. And I'm just going to go around the eye with the black, kind of like an eyeliner, and line the bottom. I like to constantly check back to see how it's going. I don't like going blind. And I just basically am just going to line her like this. I've already got some shading unintentionally coming in there. You know what I'm going to do? I hate using the tap to fill, but screw it. That created a nice step there, didn't it? I can't do that here because if you see, it opens right here. But what I can do, this is often the case with your lower lid. I've got on Sirius XM Holly. I'm trying to get myself in the Christmas mood again. My son, God bless his soul, comes and says, Mom, it's not about the decorations, it's about being around family. It is. You know, a lot of you folks from CT have become my family. I would love to exchange Christmas cards with any of you if you wish to. Oblige. If you don't, I understand. There's the whole thing with the addresses, and some of you are overseas, and I don't know how to do that. But I'd be more than happy to share my address with you if you just ding me in my inbox. This is like really my first tutorial video. Notice that for the eyelashes on the bottom, I'm not filling in, I'm tracing, but adding extra lines in because eyelashes aren't a single block of color. Mine, personally, are very long lashes for myself, and I'm adding stuff in that's not already there. I know one of the first SFIs when they had the Hyperrealistic Eye Challenge a few months back, shortly after I joined color therapy, and shortly after I discovered that, hey, I can color outside the lines, I overdid it and used a setting, and one person criticized me that my eyelashes looked fake, which was rude. And I've learned through being on the app as long as I have now, a year in February, that there are some rude, and most of them are children, people on color therapy that feel like their opinions, I don't get it. We live in a society where people are so worried about being offended by every little freaking thing, yet don't have a problem offending others. I don't understand it. I feel like it's like, okay, the world is just not a safe place to express your opinion. You can't even have an open discussion about politics anymore without somebody jumping down your throat. I don't care who you supported. I voted who I voted for because I didn't like the other candidate. But I'm not exactly fond of the person that I voted for either. So it's a double-edged sword. Kind of wish his running mate was actually president, to be honest with you. He speaks better and has a more presidential, especially after the funeral of George H.W. Bush. Consequently, I didn't meet him personally, but after the Desert War, Operation Desert Storm, which my father was in, it's irony, that's, I've got to move this. My father was in Operation Desert Storm, and so shortly after that ended, George H.W. Bush came to Seymour Johnson Air Force Base here in North Carolina, and I had to skip school, one of the few times I ever did, because I was such a bookworm, and I got to see his motorcade, and I swear to you guys, he waved at me from his motorcade. I think he was waving at everybody, but to me it felt personal. And it's just one of those awesome moments in history and be like, yeah, I was there for that. And then, you know, further down the line and down the road, I was active duty when Ronald Reagan passed, and I volunteered. I wasn't voluntold. I volunteered to stand out like a lot of troops did this time for George H.W., to pay respects to the motorcade that was carrying him back to Air Force One to take him back home to be buried, and stand and salute in my dress blues to send the president off. And I saluted both the hearse that was carrying his casket and Miss Nancy Reagan as well. And that was extremely honorable for me, considering that my father-in-law worked in the Reagan administration to help write the ADA laws that George H.W. eventually ended up signing into practice after they were revised again. So, okay, here's your realistic eye, right? Not quite finished yet, but as you can see, it's somewhat flashed out. This needs added in. So I'm staying in your basic palette. Everybody has access to this. I want my airbrush up a little bit, my opacity down. And you want to work in this little, everybody knows this little area here is like pinkish. follow the contours. Follow the contours. That's the best advice I can give you. The palette the thing has contours for you to follow. And if you're using an Apple Pencil like me, it's a little easier. If you're not, I know it's very difficult to get those exact brush strokes, but there are styluses you can buy that have a thin point and a thick point that do similar things. And you want to kind of go around because there are a lot of blood vessels in your eyeball. You ever gotten pink eye? Proof positive, there's a lot of damn blood vessels in there. So, and you know, just, okay, you want your opacity down further than this. We don't want her to look like she's been smoking pot. Yeah, that's how my eyes looked earlier. No, I wasn't smoking pot, I was crying. I was upset. So Christmas is important to me. If I can't celebrate it with extended family because my mom's alienated everybody against me, and my daughter doesn't want to have anything to do with me, and actually, it sounds horrible, but the feeling's mutual after what she did last year. A lot of you on color therapy have kind of become my family, and I appreciate all of you. And so I wanted to do this, and hopefully it lets me share it on the color therapy page because not all of you are on my friends list. FYI, you're more than welcome to send me a friend request. I will accept it. I have no IRL friends. Oh, God, I bet that's going to look horrible. I probably went too far for that one. Okay, putting the red around the iris here, I'm probably going to make her look like she's got allergies. That's okay. Let's see how she looks. All right, guess what time it is, folks? This is my defining factor, the thing you don't know about my artwork. This is the last thing I do before I say I'm finished. Initials, signature. For my artwork, this always means you can't touch it after this, you're done. So click select. I think it looks great. It turned out great. That's basically how I did it. I'm sorry I didn't start the video in time for you to see how I did the purple. I hope my walkthrough helped with that. I'm obviously getting notifications on some of my other stuff. For those of you that are just joining the color therapy group, I'm RH Designs. You'll be able to see this in my gallery and know that that's me. My actual name is Rachel Henderson. That's right, it's a long A, not a short. But RH comes from my first two initials, Designs, because I like to put a personal touch on all of this. Any of you is welcome to send me a friend request. I'm fine with that. Just know I sometimes cuss. I'm very eccentric. And I have an odd sense of humor. If you can get past all of that and ignore it, I don't post anything political on my page. I may say some off-the-wall or uncomfortable things. I don't always understand proper rules, but I would love to get to know y'all better. Some of you are just awesome people, and you've helped me out a lot with your prayers and your well wishes and me getting into this program. So I'm hoping that my little tutorial here on the eye helps. I've got to put in all my hashtags, just I'm calling complete. And that's how I did my hyper realistic irises. I think it turned out fantastic.